live from New York. It's a show that just needs to keep the takes within bounds, okay?
What?
No bonus takes today.
Oh, there's going to be bonus.
Brew, do what you
not
want.
as many.
Miles just gets so mad that your cogent analysis takes away from his time for his whimsical fantasy.
Talk about the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
No, we're going to go through tiers at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And Brew, he will open up a full page and it will just have takes on it.
That's good. That's what the show is. It's more that and less you deciding at 7 a.m. I'm going to do Hornets for Tiers. And then
What's wrong with that?
And then seeing that I actually gave the Hornets a ton of respect.
That was yesterday.
And you're doing them anyway.
I'm doing Hornets today.
Again,
Hornets are 500 now.
Right, and I have them way
they're
above.
Too good for you to like, really.
Not yet.
A month ago, it was.
If they get a little bit better,
I'm
I'm moving on to the Pelicans.
15-3, I think, right?
We're starting in Kansas City. I know you want to get to this.
Yep.
Trent McDuffie has been traded, headed to the Rams. Kansas City receiving pick number 29 in the first round, as well as a 5th, a 6th, and a 2027 third. Mahomes didn't feel great about it, tweeting, "Darn, but the swear." Nick, your reaction?
Version.
Trent McDuffie, I believe, is the best slot corner in football. Trent McDuffie was drafted by the Chiefs. They immediately went to 3 straight Super Bowls, winning back-to-back.
Yep.
He's an excellent player, and I think this is for a Rams team that. Sorry, we just had old confetti fall down.
Weeks ago?
From the
celebrating,
Super Bowl.
celebrating the
Sorry,
the Rams.
that was unbelievable. The Rams, to me, more than any team in the league, should be put all the chips in.
Yeah,
because
that makes
they're
sense.
good enough and their quarterback doesn't have a 5-year window the way the other great quarterbacks or a 10-year window those guys do.
Yeah.
So I am okay with them saying, forget 2029. Let's try to go now. So I understand it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Chiefs, this is what responsible adult organizations do, which is make tough decisions and do it a year early when you can get the biggest possible return rather than a year late where you get a tepid return, or 2 years late like the Bengals are doing with Trey Hendrickson, where you get no return at all.
Yeah.
The Chiefs built the defensive backbone of their 3 straight Super Bowl appearances via the Tyreek Hill trade. They just traded a player as good as McDuffie is, not Tyreek Hill's caliber at the time, for 85% of the return they got for the Tyreek Hill. If we put the 2 trades side by side, both netted the 29th pick in the upcoming draft. Tyreek got you a 2nd, 2 fourths, and a 6th. This got you a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th. So not quite as much, but again, about 85%. And this is what you have to do. And I will add one other piece, Brew. The Chiefs, under this regime, have made it very clear we can develop corners, and we won't pay them. So secondary players, we can develop them, we won't pay them. They drafted Marcus Peters, they traded him to the Rams. They drafted Charvarius Ward, they let him walk for a huge deal with the Niners. They signed Honey Badger, they let him walk. They drafted L'Jarius Sneed, they traded him to the Titans. They drafted Trent McDuffie, they traded him to the Rams. Not on there, they drafted Jalen Watson in the 7th round, turned him into a really good corner. He's about to get probably $15 million a year in free agency. That's the spot they think they can develop in-house.
Sure.
So yes, they are, whoever they draft and whichever players they draft will not be day one as good as Trent McDuffie. But this is what you have to do, in my opinion, to have a 15-year contention window.
Yeah, look, both teams were true to themselves. All right, the Rams, of course, Les Snead, what'd he say? F them picks,
yes.
Right? That's him. And that's what they've been doing, getting rid of picks, but getting players that can help you right now. I agree. I was looking at you funny when you said they should be more all in than any other team because I'm thinking Baltimore, Buffalo. But you're right. Lamar, Josh Allen have a longer runway than Stafford. So, yeah, I think for the Rams, it's great. You know McDuffie's going to be great. We've talked about how second half of their season, the defense wasn't quite up to snuff. And McDuffie, the quarterback's one of their big needs. And he is one of the best in the league. So I thought it was great for them. They still have the Falcons first round pick, number 13, I think it is. So they're in good shape with that, too. And for the Chiefs, you showed a lot of what I was going to say. Like, this is what they do. Tyreek, they let go. And he ended up having his best year in Miami, but he still was awesome. And they let him go, and it didn't hurt him. L'Jarius Sneed, and now Trent McDuffie. So, and they have drafted well. Obviously, they drafted most of these guys. So you would think with these picks that they're getting, stockpiling, they're going to make the most of them. So assuming they do that and do what they've done the past few years, with Brett Veach, they'll be fine. But it is contingent on them making the most out of these picks. If they don't draft well all of a sudden,
then you're in real trouble.
now you may be going into a bit of a slide. I'm not saying like for too many years, but you could go into a slide if you don't draft well. But their track record says they will. So I think it was great for the Rams, and I think it was good for the Chiefs.
Quickly on the Rams, so you mentioned it, Brew, how good they were weeks 1 through 12. There was a point where we looked at them as a top 5 defense. Then they really fell off the cliff, and they had to win games, in the 30s. So the Rams are going all in. That looks great. How optimistic are you about the Chiefs' season? Because this week we saw Juwan Taylor be a cap casualty.
Yeah.
You think you're going to be okay. Trent McDuffie's leaving. It feels kind of future-oriented, and I know this is part of the business of the NFL, but you still feel great about this, your 5th hardest schedule.
Yeah, so I am not as the 5th hardest schedule thing. I think the off-season, how hard is your upcoming season schedule? It's sometimes you can tell, and sometimes a bit of a fool's errand. Yeah. And I think we learned that this year, where like a lot of the teams that we thought were going to be walkovers were tough games.
The 49ers were easy.
Are supposed to have a tough or easy schedule.
Right, and teams that flip side, I'll use the Chiefs as an example. People are like, man, we got to go to Arrowhead in November or December, and it was like, that's great. Like actually, and so if Patrick Mahomes is healthy, I am exceptionally optimistic, not only for this year, but for continuing years, because they have the stomach to do this type of thing. This is very Belichickian. I don't know how many times we saw the Patriots when they knew we had Brady and we're going to have this long run, either trade guys away or have them leave for big dollar free agent deals and then come back. And you know what I mean? Like it didn't. And so in that regard, I am very optimistic. I will also say this. The Juwan Taylor thing, we all, people that care enough about the Chiefs cap situation to knew that was coming. The second most likely major move was trading Trent McDuffie. And so this is not shocking. If the news was they had traded Chris Jones, that would shock me. Yeah. And I also think the other piece of it is, I think Trent McDuffie, and he deserves it, and God bless him, is about to get like $30 million a year, which was just going to be untenable for the Chiefs.
And they could lose, like you already said, Watson, the safety.
Brian Cook, he's a free agent.
So I got to be, they don't feel like an elite team right now. They don't feel, I think the Chargers in Denver definitely feel to me like they're ahead of them just in that division. And so I have faith in Veach's resume where he will draft guys, but it feels like it may be, I'm not saying this, writing this in stone, but it almost feels like next year could be kind of a, let's get Mahomes back to, through the injury, back to his old self. And next year's kind of a tough year. Maybe they don't make the playoffs again, and then they make a great run the following year.
So I'll meet you halfway on this. I don't think, and even with this draft capital and even with whatever they could do in free agency, that it's reasonable to be like, Chiefs, pencil them back in for 13-4.
No.
I don't think that. I do think that if they go, 10-7 and make the playoffs, and by that time Mahomes is more than a year removed from the injury, and these extra picks, these young guys have a year under their belt, they can be an exceptionally dangerous team.
If they get in the playoffs, they'll scare some people.
Totally agree.
Yeah, they'll scare some people.
And I just want to say one other thing just very quickly, because we talk about Bill Barnwell a lot on this show because we think he's so smart and does a good job. Credit to him, he predicted Trent McDuffie to the Rams in one of his offseason columns. He thought the trade compensation would be Trent McDuffie and a fifth from Kansas City for the 29th. So the Chiefs give up McDuffie and a fifth and get the 29th.
It does seem like a pretty big haul if you're also going to pay McDuffie.
It is but on the draft value chart, it is almost the same that the Jets got for Quinnen Williams, and it's about 80% of what the Jets got for Sauce Gardner, who is considered, because he's an outside corner, a slightly more valuable spot. Like, this was, I think, the best value you could possibly get, and it's a bunch of picks. So to your point, the Chiefs have had the 2022 draft, the Chiefs crushed. The 2023 draft, not a lot of hits. This needs to be the 2022 draft for them, and that's how you rebuild.
It's fascinating. To Bruce's point about a reset year, remember we called that with Buffalo too, when they had an exodus of captains, and we did a lot of defensive starts, and they were excellent. At the same time, I don't know if we'd be shocked, at least on this side of the table, if the Chiefs won 9 games.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. And again, a lot of it depends on Mahomes.
It's just Mahomes.
If Mahomes starts week 1, I would be shocked if they win 9 games. I know they just won 6. I understand, but I do not look at this past season as the beginning of the downfalls, as a reset, aberrant, bad year, kind of all the bad stuff that could happen. So, but if Mahomes doesn't start till week 6, then
if it takes him a while to really
get back to it. But I think Mahomes independent, this is good business. If you want to contend for the entirety of Patrick Mahomes' prime and into his late 30s, these are the tough decisions you got to make.
Coming up later, your Ravens letting your center walk.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll work
Could we see
out.
recently released Kyler Murray throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson week 1 in Minnesota? Albert Breer writing Kyler's $36.8 million guarantee means he'll almost certainly play in the minimum next year, with Arizona footing the rest of the bill. That'll allow him to make his next move purely on what's best for him, football-wise. Brew, do you think adding Kyler makes the Vikings immediate contenders?
Well, the first thing is this. If you bring in Kyler, you're pretty much admitting you're done with J.J. McCarthy.
Correct.
We talked about Aaron Rodgers. He could easily be there for one season. McCarthy learns under him, and then McCarthy's starting in a year. Kyler could just go there and not play well, and then McCarthy somehow is still in the mix. But what this would say to McCarthy is, we're done with you. And look, in fairness, he has not delivered, and being hurt more than half of his time there is part of not delivering. You just been hurt. So even though he's only had 10 games, he hasn't played well enough to get an attitude, but it would be saying, you may not be long for this league or this organization, certainly. So that if they go get Kyler, they got to know the message we're sending to JJ. That said, if they get Kyler, look, we all can think about his great highlights. He made 2 Pro Bowls, I think legitimately his second and third years in the league. But in 7 years in the league, I guess you can say 6 healthy, he made the playoffs once. And he had 1 winning season in Arizona. Now, they never had a top 10 defense. He never made them a top 10 offense either, but they never had a top 10 defense. He would have that with Minnesota. I am not going to say contender. He still would be likely the worst quarterback in that division. Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, and Jared Goff, right?
Maybe.
So, unless Caleb does not take a leap and then doesn't have all those extra, supernatural comebacks, but he likely is the worst quarterback in that division. Now, they had that this year and won 9 games. So I think they will be a playoff contender. Right. Could maybe make a run and get into the playoffs. I'll be a little bit hesitant to say Super Bowl contender.
Go, KW.
One day I was driving my car. I made some bad decisions. I said, you know what? I can get to the middle of Connecticut on just a little bit of gas. And next thing you know, my car shuts off. I was in a Prius at the time.
Prius, you don't need gas.
You do need a little bit of gas.
Oh.
It wasn't all electric a long
Sorry.
time ago.
All right.
The car is now dead. And I get off the exit and start rolling down. I said, I am in a bad spot here. I take a right because I see it's downhill. There is a downhill slope for 3 miles until there's a gas station. I pull in and fill up, and I said, you know what? I made a series of bad decisions, and look what I lucked into. That's the Minnesota Vikings with Kyler Murray. You have made bad decision on Sam Darnold. You made a bad decision on J.J. McCarthy. You made a bad decision letting Daniel Jones walk. And all of a sudden, number 1 pick, Kyler Murray, can fall into our lap for the league minimum. This is an obvious must sign. And I understand that, like I was like, I'm not sure I said he can hang with everybody in that division. You could say he's the worst.
If he plays
maybe he is.
at his highest level,
But he can
hang.
He can hang.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I think he can hang. I think him and Caleb, they can hang. Him and Goff can hang together. He's a number 1 pick who has shown that he can string together 10 wins in a row.
No, hold on.
That happened.
He's accurate. He has a cannon.
Guys,
And he can move.
He's had some good years.
Okay, he's 29 in a couple months.
Okay.
He's 2 months older than Darnold. He's not a young player. He's not an untested player. He has 10 more career starts than Joe Burrow. He has, when we look at these guys that are reclamations, Darnold got 38 starts with the Jets. Geno got 30 in his career before Seattle, and he was out in the wilderness for a long time. Baker, it feels like he was with the Browns for a while, 59. He's at 87. We know exactly who Kyler Murray is.
He went to the playoffs.
See, I think
Hold on. 40% of the league goes to the playoffs every year.
Well, I'm just saying it's not comparable to if Sam Darnold took the Jets to the playoffs.
No, but Baker went to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Baker
that was
went
a
to the,
sign that he could pop.
He is, none of us at this table think he's one of the 20 best quarterbacks in a 32 quarterback league.
So you don't think there's a chance?
Because
I'm with Minnesota taking the chance. Maybe he's not any good, but he's worth taking a shot.
Hold on. So that is, I'm not trying to be pedantic. Should Minnesota take a flyer on Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
Is a different question than what KW's proposing. Adding the Vikings, making contenders, and that they've made all these bad decisions, and this could save it. No, it won't. Kyler Murray is not a good NFL quarterback.
How many games could he win with the Vikings? They went 9-8 last year with a combination of McCarthy, Wentz, and Broussard, who started 2 games.
So maybe they could win 10 games.
So you think Kyler's just for the record, McCarthy played 2, Wentz played 6, was out of the league. Then 9 came back for 4. Broussard played for 2.
Let me ask you this. What if they signed Jacoby Brissett? Because the Cardinals had both healthy.
That was a money thing.
That guy was trying to save his job.
I like Brissett for that.
Jonathan Gannon did. Jonathan Gannon was trying to save his job. And Jonathan Gannon got Kyler Murray back and said, you're not playing because I need to win games.
I thought it was a Russ thing where if you get hurt, your money
I'm not sure he thought Brissett was
guarantees
better.
next year.
I would say this to you, though, Nick. Just what you're saying, you would have said about all of these reclamation projects, except maybe Baker. You would have said the same thing about Darnold. You would have said it about Geno. And they're not good NFL quarterbacks.
Right, but my point, and that's why I mentioned the 87 starts. Those guys by start 75 all showed they could be good.
But they did not show you any of the flashes or upside or even decent stretches that Kyler has. You have to admit that.
No, I agree. I think Baker did, but there's certainly Geno and Darnold did. Yeah, that's fine. And Daniel Jones didn't either, right. To your point. I just think all of us, I thought, kind of agreed that Kyler Murray was this level of quarterback, whatever it is. And now, because he's been released, I think people are going to trick themselves into what they wanted to believe in him 4 years ago. We know the book on him. We know that he has not been overwhelmingly popular with his teammates. We know that he has not engendered the trust of his coaches. We know that he has not shown the ability to play anywhere near his best football in November and December. We know that he has seemingly trailed off at the end of years, and that's because he's small, whatever it is. And I mean, the data, that part backs it up. Where if you look at his best games, right, 300-plus yard games or 100-plus passer rating, you can roll him.
That's all. Fair.
It's all weeks 1 through 10. He can do stuff. I think we have these, but weeks 1 through 10, he has 21 games with 300-plus yards. After that, he has 8. The 100-plus passer rating, it's a similar trajectory. Again, all of that is who the player is.
I wonder if
for you to say he can hang with Goff is crazy.
He can hang with. All right, how about this? They play. I'm just giving me that he can hang. Maybe he's just these guys are here and he's there. That's all I'm saying. They also play the NFC South. I think he is better than or can hang with all those guys. They play the AFC East. 2 teams I don't even know who the quarterback is. Drake was very good. Josh, who I've seen play head-to-head, and I've seen Kyler beat Josh on one of the best plays in recent memory. So I think that Kyler can turn a 9-8 team into
contenders?
Yeah, I think he can win 11 games. I think I take those 2 Brosmer games out and win one of them.
He has to improve a lot. And I think he's capable. Like, I think, Nick, even early in the season, the numbers you showed, the decline late in the season, it could be size. It also could be related to his lack of work ethic and not studying hard, because later in the seasons, teams, they know your tendencies better. They have more tape on you.
But you want to roll with 9 instead?
No. Well, that's a separate discussion about whether or not you owe it to yourself to see your decision through. But this is where, and maybe again, the way I look at sports does not mean it's right. It's just the only way I know how to do it. I can only judge Kyler Murray against where he stacks up amongst the 32 starting quarterbacks. And so when all of us at this table would say Mahomes, Stafford, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Darnold, Caleb, May, Trevor, Goff, Love, Dak, Hurts, Baker, Herbert, Daniels are without a doubt better than him. That's 16. That's half. So he's not a top half quarterback. I have not mentioned Brock Purdy, who has proven more than Kyler Murray. I have not mentioned C.J. Stroud, who has a better singular season than Kyler's great 10 games. I have not mentioned Daniel Jones, who prior to some people like, and your guy Bryce Young, who also was a #1 pick.
Well, I like Bryce.
I know you do. So if you're not a top 20 quarterback, or at best you're 20th, adding you at 29 years old does not make a team a contender.
I think adding Kyler plus the Vikings defense is very interesting. If you take all those quarterbacks, all right, I get to play your defense. You have to play Brian Flores' defense every time. Does that curve bring flip-flop Kyler and, I don't want to get into a fight, Brock Purdy, where he's 4-5 against the 49ers?
Would adding Mac Jones make them contenders?
Yes.
Because I don't. Okay, so if your answer that's yes, then I'm fine with it. Because that's about that's the pool I think he swims in. Shallower end, albeit, but that's the pool.
But he's dynamic. He can move too if he's healthy.
No, look, I'm just like, take a flyer on it. Because if it works out, great. If it doesn't, you're not paying him anything.
If it doesn't, you still win 9 games. Oh.
Seahawks confetti still on.
That's my non-TV face. Celebrating. All right, we're talking about A.J. Brown, perhaps a future Patriot, because we have some breaking news that Stefon Diggs just got released. We're going to talk about that in a second. The Seahawks, no, I'm not talking about the Seahawks. That's the old story. Will A.J. Brown fly away from the Eagles? Not for what Philly's asking for. The Athletic's James Palmer on the Scoop City podcast says that a head coach heard what the Eagles wanted in return for A.J. Brown and, quote, laughed hard. Are the Eagles better off keeping or trading A.J. Brown?
It should make you laugh. We're negotiating, all right? I'm coming in real high, all right? And beyond that, he's a great player, all right? And I am if they get a package that they like, where they can presumably draft another, like a top receiver in the draft, then by all means, move on. I am not of the mentality, though, that they have to get rid of him, that it's addition by subtraction. I don't get that. I don't love his foolishness, his distractions and all that, but teams can win with a diva-like receiver or distractions. They proved it a year ago. They won the Super Bowl with him reading books on the sidelines. Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl with Antonio Brown. All right? I know it got ugly at the end, but they won the Super Bowl with him. And so
they are light years apart as far as
Antonio was worse than this.
That's what he said.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think
and they
A.J.
still
Brown
won the Super Bowl.
It has to be close.
Right, but I'm just saying, an even worse distraction, and they were able to win the Super Bowl. So that's where I'm at on this. And I also think this, Nick, Sean Mannion, and I don't want to make him out like he's, the next Kyle Shanahan. I'm just saying, he does come from a nice tree. Yes. He just was in Green Bay with LaFleur. Mm-hmm. He's played for McVay and all these guys, Kevin O'Connell. I am sure his first order of business in his mind is, this is how I'm going to get the most out of A.J. Brown. He knows what Jalen can and can't do, and this is what I'm going to do to get the most out of A.J. Brown. So, again, I'm not against trading him, Nick, but I am against just giving him away and thinking it's addition by subtraction.
So I do think the Trent McDuffie trade just made this harder for other teams to acquire him.
Why?
Well, I mean, who do you think is more valuable in this league, Trent McDuffie or A.J. Brown? It's at least close. And McDuffie just went for a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 6. And so when the reporting had been teams are willing to give up a 2, right. The Eagles want a first plus. If I'm Howie Roseman, I'm like, see, that's why. Want a first plus. A team wide receivers considered a more premium position than corner. AJ's under contract. Trent is going to get the biggest new contract. Like, that kind of emboldened, in theory, Howie Roseman's position on what he deserves for it. With that said, the Eagles are patently out of their minds if he's on the roster week 1. I wouldn't give him away for nothing because you won't have to. Teams will make you legitimate offers. Maybe not what the Chiefs got for McDuffie, but I'm certain they right now could get a solid second-round pick for A.J. Brown. And if that's the best you get offered, then you've got to take it. Because, Brew, you're right. You can win with the disgruntled receiver for a time, and then you must move on. Like Antonio Brown, you're right, while it's a different story, he moved on himself. But Stefon Diggs, was disgruntled for a bit, moved on in both places. Randy in New England, eventually you have to move on. T.O. at multiple stops, but including in Philly, got to a Super Bowl, was unbelievable. At some point, though, you got to move on. And I believe, and this is where I'm surprised by it, I thought we all believed that the Eagles regretted, once they saw how the season ended, we probably should have traded him at the deadline. And so why sign yourself up for that again? It's not going to be better.
No.
I don't think Sean Mannion is just going to fix it all in one fell swoop. It has been like this for consecutive seasons. It was like this when you had the glow of the Super Bowl win, basking over the season. Now you have, we changed coordinators. We had a tough regular season. I had my worst statistical year. We got popped in round 1. It's not going to be better. I just think you have to find out what your best offer is and take it. And because I do think it is something of addition by subtraction, not to the point to where you would release him, but to where I just think you need to shake the snow globe of that locker room, even if I think a lot of his complaints, he wasn't the only one who had them. He was just the voice of them. Mm-hmm. I just don't think you can stick with the head coach and the quarterback and the wide receiver that's upset with something to do with one of the two of those guys.
I wrote, the Eagles and A.J. Brown are in a relationship where Valentine's Day is awkward, but no one wants to call a divorce lawyer. Like, they can still make it work. It's not great, but like you said, I'll read a book and win the Super Bowl. Does he get his numbers? He had 1,003 yards. So you want to be negative, it's 3 yards less than Michael Wilson of the Cardinals. He's much better than Michael Wilson of the Cardinals. He also had more yards than DK Metcalf, and DK Metcalf is We don't hear DK Metcalf trying to get out of Pittsburgh.
Well, and he only complained. He is about the numbers. Yeah. Because remember when they went through a stretch, it wasn't like a losing streak, but they were up and down as far as winning and losing. But he was getting targets and numbers, and he didn't complain.
Can we?
It's all about numbers.
Sometimes you're such a talented broadcaster.
Not really.
Sometimes your analogies are so good, it distracts from your sports point. Can we dive further into this awkward Valentine's Day?
No, I think it's super awkward.
And so
they're like, hey, we love. Well, the biggest thing about it's not. They're not ready to get. Nobody wants to just be out. If A.J. Brown wanted to be out, I want to be out. He could cause a bigger fuss. It's almost like, it's a little bit like Giannis.
No.
He does. It's totally different. He's like face of the franchise, everything. But man, you don't really want to leave.
I think
you don't really.
I think he definitively wants to leave.
Then leave. Then just make a stink. So is what you say. I want out.
Yeah.
I think
it's not hard. Just tweet something.
I think they're more iffy than him. I think they're more. I don't know if we want to get rid of me. So
well, that's what I'm saying. But if I tweet,
I think he
start. You know what you do? Start base level, entry level. Unfollow the Eagles on Instagram.
That might have happened.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there were a lot of AJ Brown social media. He went on a dude's Madden Twitch stream and said, "Drop me from your fantasy team" during the season. I don't know how much more direct for your analogy.
That was
right.
actually helpful.
No one wants to call a divorce lawyer, but are you scrolling Hinge in front of me?
No, he's just
like that.
He's just being nice. He's like, hey man, drop me. Yeah. Dust, are we ready to do Stefon?
Yeah,
you have the news.
You're not, but we. Oh,
we have an IG post from Stefon Diggs. This is gonna break my heart. The Patriots are releasing four-time Pro Bowler.
It's very nice.
Stefon Diggs. He had 85 catches, over 1,000 yards on 4 touchdowns. Thank you for a heck of the year. We're family forever. Oh, gosh. Yeah. And the real heart, not even the broken heart with a little tear on it.
So can I jump in
Patriots.
real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Because KW on and off the air, was signaling massive alarm at the Chiefs releasing, I don't know, let's call it the 16th best right tackle in football. Stefon Diggs is a self-proclaimed by Wild top 5 receiver in the league. Who
I didn't say he's certainly playing like
right.
He was playing in like I don't think he's top 5, but Drake May's passer rating and his catch rate. Bring those up. Catch rate.
Exactly. All of that. I don't see a ready-made in-house replacement. This was something that I think is fair to say was not on your radar or our radar the day the season ended. Like, they're probably releasing Diggs. It did seem like the last few weeks there was local reporting this was going to happen. So what does this mean for your Patriots, buddy?
First of all, take everything you said about Trent McDuffie and then just put a Patriots.
Oh, you guys are getting picks for him? You guys are we got to fix the bar, guys. They're not cutting it.
No, we're not
They're
getting a first-round pick for him. Okay.
A first, third, fifth, and sixth. If you guys are trading him for draft capital, I feel very differently.
Say that you're getting A.J. Brown or somebody like that.
I don't know. That's a great.
That
is a great question. So
that's what this could mean.
No, I have several questions I think this raises. Number one, and this is not the most fun thing to talk about, is this on the field salary or it is some off the field
that's fair
developments weigh into this?
Yes.
It is what it is. I don't think we're.
No, the Chiefs might be in a similar situation with the receiver here sooner than later. So, I get that.
Yeah,
but
so
it's still,
that might be part of it.
That almost makes it harder from a team building perspective, because it means you didn't plan for it. If it's off the field that forces him off your team, it wasn't like part of
and who knows what part of the equation? I don't think 100%. I don't think 0%. So what part of it? Question number 2: who replaces him? So is that an A.J. Brown thing? What do we do with this money? Is it a draft thing? Is there like a Brian Thomas Jr. trade out there? So who's going to replace Stefon either from a production standpoint and from a leadership standpoint? I know it's silly to talk about the vibes, but there was a maturation that we saw from Vikings Stefon Diggs to Patriots in the Super Bowl Stefon Diggs, and he really led that group, and some of the younger players talked about how he was a leader on the field. And 3, for him, where does he go now?
Yeah,
this
that's a
will
good
be
question.
team 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be team 5, and this fourth team in 3 years.
Yep.
I don't know
or
that he
fourth team
goes
in 4
anywhere
years.
immediately.
Really?
I do think he has to probably clear up the off the field stuff,
Which might get resolved very quickly and
right, but it also
seamlessly.
might it could get resolved in either direction quite quickly.
Yep.
But I do think at his age and given the games were excellent with him, and you're right, the vibes were really good. But it started the year before with a Zapruder filming the boat ride, and is that a lighter? Is that well, us googling what's Tootsie, and it ended the way it ended, and so it's to me the most shocking part of the Stefon Diggs year with the Patriots was his productivity. For me, like I was not surprised by any of the other stuff. And
leadership, that was
no, I can put that in the productivity, like and
He was great.
Yeah, he was
and
great.
he was so
played
good that I, during your playoff run, would have assumed, wow. I think it was a 3-year, $62 million deal, but it was a 1-year, $20 million deal. I would have thought they're probably going to bring him back.
He wanted to be back. I thought
Yes.
they were going to bring him
Well,
back.
look, and I'm not saying they're getting A.J. Brown, but I don't think you want 2 potential diva receivers in your building like that. And who are veterans who have a high opinion of themselves. So if I knew I was bringing in A.J. Brown and I'm the Patriots, I don't need Stefon Diggs either.
Stefon, he didn't exhibit any of those
No,
qualities
he didn't.
in the locker room.
But
he
it's
was
there.
the clear-cut
It's
number
always
one.
right.
If
He
you
was
brought
the
in A.J.
leader,
Brown,
all that.
he's no longer your number one. He's not your.
You
so
don't
what
need
you
him to
guys
lead like that.
listen? You were right that Booty was better than we thought. And you have what's the kid, Kyle?
Kyle Williams?
Kyle Williams. It's a good pick. You'll see what but you need a true possession receiver.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.